The auditorium lights dimmed, tassels swaying as graduates tossed their caps. My chair was empty in the family section because my parents weren't there. They were home, managing my sister's tantrum about a dress. My name is Elena, I'm 23, and if you think you know how this ends, stay tuned. The diploma in my hands felt weightless compared to the silence in my chest. Other parents cheered, snapped photos, waved roses. I smiled for strangers' cameras, but inside it was a hollow click. When I opened my phone, I saw the text from Mom. We'll celebrate later. You know how your sister gets. I stared at it until the words blurred, until the letters looked like teeth. Have you ever had family cross your boundaries? Let me know in the comments. I left the after-party early, carrying the symbolic proof of 4 years no one came to witness. At home, their laughter seeped through the walls, sister's voice high, demanding. Dad's soft chuckle, Mom's soothing tones. The applause they gave her tantrum louder than anything I'd ever earned. My packed duffel sat by my bed. I'd been folding shirts for weeks, pretending I wasn't. Tonight, the zipper closed without hesitation. Keys in one pocket, diploma in the other. As I shut the door, the frame rattled. It sounded like applause, but not for them, applause for my leaving. I thought I was walking into loneliness. I didn't know yet I was walking into their unraveling. The first morning in my new apartment smelled of paint and dust, not coffee and burnt toast like home. The silence was startling, but it didn't ache, it steadied me. I set my diploma on the tiny kitchen counter like a sacred object, its black frame reflecting weak sunlight through cheap blinds. Then my phone buzzed. Dad, why didn't you come home last night? Mom, Elena, this isn't funny. Your sister cried herself to sleep. I didn't reply. I just let the notifications pile like unopened bills. By noon, my Aunt Clara called. She was the only one who ever slipped me $20 bills in birthday cards, the only one who whispered, "You matter too." Her voice cracked through the line. "Sweetheart, I heard what happened. You left." "Yes." "Good. Don't come back until they understand." Her words sank deep, like someone finally building a bridge where I'd been left swimming. That night, I returned to campus to drop off my rental gown. Walking past the auditorium again, the floor still glittered with confetti. I bent down, picked up a single piece of gold foil, and slipped it into my pocket. It felt small, fragile, yet sharp enough to cut. A reminder. Back at the apartment, I taped that foil above the light switch. Not decoration. A warning, because the collapse hadn't started yet. But when it did, that little strip of confetti would gleam like prophecy. By the third day, their calls turned sharp. "Mom, we're worried sick. Where exactly are you?" "Dad, you can't just vanish, Elena. This is childish." Childish. That word hooked under my ribs. They had skipped my once-in-a-lifetime moment to soothe the tantrum, and now I was the child. I left their messages on read. But then came one from my sister. "Mom says you're punishing us. Grow up." You know I needed them more that day. Needed them more? The sentence pulsed in my mind like a neon sign. For 23 years, I had been the placeholder, only valuable when she didn't need attention. Aunt Clara called again. "Brace yourself, honey. Your parents are at my house, yelling. They want to know if I know where you are." I told them nothing. Her voice lowered. "But the way they're panicking, I think something's unraveling already." That night, I sat cross-legged on the floor of my apartment, diploma on one side, foil scrap on the other. My phone buzzed with another message, this time from Dad, short-clipped. "We need to talk. Urgent." I didn't reply. Instead, I stared out the window at the city lights, each glowing square a life not mine. I imagined their perfect suburban home. Windows shut, curtains drawn tight around secrets they never wanted spilling. For the first time I felt it, power shifting. The silence I had chosen was louder than all their explanations combined. 2 more days passed before the cracks showed. It started with a voicemail from Mom, her voice shaky, brittle. "Elena, please call me back. Your father, he's under so much stress. Your sister had another breakdown. Things aren't as perfect as they look." Perfect. The word she clung to like oxygen, now fraying on her tongue. I played it twice, then a third time, listening not for the words, but for the pauses. In those silences I heard it, fear. Later that evening, Clara texted, "You won't believe this. Your parents came to my place again. They begged me to tell them where you are. I didn't. But, Elena, your dad's job? There's trouble. Something about missed reports and him leaving early too often for your sister." I sat back, stunned. The man who once lectured me about responsibility was stumbling, and it wasn't me pushing. It was them, his own desperate need to manage a tantrum that never ended. I looked at the diploma leaning against the wall, for years of proof that I could build something without them. And now their perfect life, the one they sacrificed me for, was wobbling on its pedestal. I traced the edge of the gold foil, taped to my wall. Once, it was just a memory of abandonment. Now, it felt like a mirror, fragile, reflective, impossible to ignore. The applause I never got at graduation? I could almost hear it in my bones. Only this time, it was for their collapse beginning to echo. The collapse arrived faster than I expected. Aunt Clara called again, voice tight. "Elena, it's chaos. Your mom showed up crying. Yes, crying. Your sister locked herself in her room after some fight. And your dad, well, word's out at his office. They're questioning his performance. People are whispering." I held the phone against my ear, eyes drifting to the strip of gold foil glinting under the lamplight. "So their perfect image," I murmured. "Shattered," Clara finished for me. That evening, my sister texted, "Are you happy now? You disappearing ruined everything. Mom and Dad are falling apart. You're selfish." I read it again and again, marveling at the irony. My absence, a single missing chair at graduation, had more weight than years of my presence. I typed back, slow and deliberate. Maybe it wasn't me who ruined it. Maybe it was the life they built on pretending. Then I hit send. Silence followed. No reply. For the first time, I didn't crave one. Later that night, I heard rain against my window, soft but insistent. I opened it just a crack. Let the damp air wash over me. The city smelled raw, alive. My little apartment might have been small, but it was mine, and in it no tantrum ruled, no applause was stolen. I leaned back, staring at the ceiling, and whispered into the quiet. They thought I was fragile, but maybe I was the storm they never saw coming. The next morning, I woke to 30 missed calls. 10 from Mom, 12 from Dad, the rest from unknown numbers. At first, I ignored them, but then one voicemail slipped through, the tone different. My father's voice hoarse. "Elena, they've suspended me. Until further review." "I don't," his breath hitched. "Your mother's beside herself. Your sister, she won't even come downstairs. Please just call us." Suspended. The word throbbed like a drumbeat. The man who once told me success requires sacrifice had sacrificed everything for a tantrum, and lost both. I didn't call back. Instead, I walked to the campus library where the bulletin board still displayed graduation photos. Faces beamed from glossy prints. In the center, a group shot of my classmates with their families. I found the space where mine should have been, empty arms around empty air. A thought flickered sharp as lightning. Their absence had been noticed too. Not just by me, by others. Their perfect mask was already slipping in public. Back at the apartment, I found an envelope under my door. No return address. Inside, a note written in my aunt's neat script. "Don't bend. They need to feel this. And Elena, sometimes the most loving thing you can do for a drowning family is refuse to sink with them." I pressed the paper flat against the wall, right beside the gold foil scrap. 2 symbols now. One of what they abandoned, one of what I chose. And for the first time, I didn't feel abandoned at all. You said, By the seventh day, the silence between us was no longer mine, it was theirs. No more angry texts. No more voicemails laced with guilt. Just a hollow quiet that stretched wider each hour. Then, a message pinged from an unknown number. Your parents are being whispered about at church. People are asking why they skipped your graduation, why they look so drained. Truth travels faster than denial. I almost laughed. For years, they cared only about appearances, smiles for neighbors, perfect holiday cards, their golden daughter sparkling at center stage. Now, that stage was crumbling beneath them. I brewed coffee in my chipped mug, watching the steam curl upward like a ghost of applause. My phone buzzed again, this time my sister. Short, jagged words. You think you've won? Without you, they're breaking. Happy now. I stared at her message, fingers still. Then I typed back. I didn't want to win. I wanted them to show up. That's all. The reply never came. That night, I pulled the foil scrap and Clara's letter from the wall, pressing them between the pages of my diploma frame. 3 fragile pieces bound together. Memory, truth, proof. I lay in bed, rain tapping soft against the glass. For once, I didn't feel like the forgotten daughter. I felt like the quiet witness to a storm they created themselves. And when lightning cracked outside, I whispered into the flash. They skipped my moment. Now life is skipping theirs. A week later, Clara showed up at my apartment with a small box. She set it on the table, her eyes steady. They sent this, she said. Letters. Apologies. Inside were 3 envelopes. Mom's handwriting, looped with shaky regret. Dad's block letters pressed too hard. And my sister's scribble. Angry, defensive, but broken. I didn't open them right away. I just stared at the sealed flaps, the weight of words finally trapped instead of thrown at me. Clara reached across, touched my hand. You don't have to read them tonight, or ever. But you should know. Your silence made them face themselves, something they never did when you were in the house. Later, when I was alone, I slid Mom's letter open. Her words stumbled between excuses and sorrow. Dad's letter was shorter. I failed you. I failed myself. My sister's was messier, half apology, half blame, but even she admitted, you leaving showed us what we lost. I folded them carefully, placed them under the diploma frame with the foil and Clara's note. My little altar of memory, shards of pain transformed into proof of growth. I didn't smile, but I breathed deeper than I had in years. Revenge hadn't been fire or fury. It had been stillness, boundaries, watching their collapse from the safety of my own life. As I turned off the light, I whispered into the dark. They thought my silence was weakness. It was the only language they finally understood.